Hi everybody, my name is Jaehoon Lee, and this is PhD podcast number 5. We are here with Madison Setness, the president of Student Council Association, which is basically the school, right?
Yeah.
She was born April 16th, 1995. Her parents are Brian and Marcella Cole Setness. She was born in Oregon. Pretty cold there.
Rainy.
Rainy.
For sure.
And there are a lot of whales there, right?
I mean, there's not really whales there, but they migrate up and down the coast from Alaska to Mexico, I think it is.
Oh.
So off the coast of Oregon and Washington, you can see some whales, and a lot of tourists go out there to see them and whale watch.
So she is from that state. She joined Facebook March 5th, 2010. Her first statement on Facebook is age is just an insignificant number.
Alright.
Don't know what the behind story is, but we'll talk about that later. And she plays basketball, or she used to play basketball, and she is a Christian. I did some more research on her. She was a cheerleader as well. She's just all over the place. I think your parents own the frozen yogurt place?
No.
Okay.
I work at the frozen yogurt place.
Okay, you work.
My family friends own it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a family member, I guess you could say.
So one of her, kind of like a family member, owns the frozen yogurt place. She is currently in drama club, DECA.
Yep.
She is very into fashion.
Yep.
She has a good personality, and we'll talk about Mr. Anthony Gobi. Sorry about that, Gobi, later on. All right, so would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
All right. As Jaehoon has Facebook stalked me, I'm Madison Hope Setness. We can talk about my middle name story later. I'm 5'11", if you want to know my height. I'm the oldest of 3 kids, only girl. I have mom, dad, 2 brothers. I have 3 dogs, a gecko, leopard, lizard. I drive a BMW, which I got from insurance money from a tree falling on my previous car that my parents had paid off, and I was lucky enough to drive. So there's some misconceptions about that. I'm not spoiled, I promise you. I do have a job and I work, and I try to stay humble. So.
All right, let's talk about. Well, we're trying to dig up your whole life here through this podcast. So let's talk about your middle name.
All right, so Hope is actually kind of like the stumbled upon middle name. I was actually born on Easter, and my parents were driving past this church, and there's a giant sign out in the yard that said Hope Lives, and my parents took it as a sign from God. They're like, oh, that's gonna be Madison's middle name. So they actually didn't really know if I was a boy or a girl, and I was a surprise. I was the first one, so they're like, we don't need to know. We'll eventually have one of each, hopefully. So they got me and my 2 brothers, and that's kind of how it happened.
So you're just the only Hope in your family?
Yeah. Nobody else has a Hope. It's just me.
All right. So you lived in Oregon?
Yes. I lived there, let's see, I think for 13 years. I was born there. I moved out here the summer before my 8th grade year. I was born in the capital. My family lives out there. My grandparents live in southern Oregon, Medford. They live on 100 acres in the forest. And my other grandparents, my dad's parents, they live in the capital. And then I have family and friends all over Beaverton and whatnot. So when we moved out here, it was kind of like a really big risk. And I think it was an important step in my life because I learned kind of to be independent. And, you know, especially middle school when we're all going through our awkward phase and whatnot, it's really hard to find friends. And I kind of found myself and found who I am, and, you know, fashion, like you talked about, I do like fashion. I kind of find myself and expressing myself through that because I didn't necessarily have a lot of friends. I went to Rachel Carson Middle School for the first half of my 8th grade year, and then I moved at Christmas time out to Bull Run, where we live now, over, you know, that way. Won't divulge too many details on where I live because you never know. But, yeah, so we moved out here, and I'm here now.
So in Oregon, were there any memorable events that you'd like to share? Your best friend, maybe?
My best friend is Rochelle Youngs. I call her P because she calls me Pod, because when we were younger, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're 2 peas in a pod. And she took it as she's a P because she's shorter, and I'm a pod because I'm taller. She didn't really understand the whole, like, two P's likeness. So anyway, that's just kind of a silly nickname I have. But Rochelle, she's my best friend. I still keep in touch with her. She's probably like the only close friend I still have out there. I went back this summer. I got to visit her, went to the Portland market and all the fun keep Portland weird things out there. So that was fun.
And were you the same Madison Setness when you were a little child, or were you a little bit different?
I've always been really outgoing, I guess I could say. I've always acted. I remember I was in Aloha High School, which was the high school I would have gone to in Oregon. They put on The Wizard of Oz, and they decided for Munchkins, they wanted the elementary students and middle school students to be the Munchkins. So I got to be a Munchkin, and I was taller than the paper mache houses. So that was kind of funny. But I've always been outgoing. Never really shy. I probably was a really kind of honest kid too, but I've always kind of stuck out in my own weird way too, is because I'm just so me that I just don't really care. Like, if you don't really like me, then I'll just let you do your thing and I can do my thing. But if you like me, hey, let's go for a hike. Let's go paint a picture. I don't know. Like, let's do something funny.
Get some frozen yogurt.
Let's go get some frozen yogurt.
So you were the same Madison Setness back then, like just outgoing?
Yeah, I think I've evolved as I've gotten older, but I think I've always kind of stayed true to myself. I think my friends back there would still be like, yep,
that's Madison.
She's probably just Madison a little more to the extreme now.
Since you've talked about Wizard of Oz, that's when your kind of like a drama career began?
Yeah, I remember my first play was Rats. That's the name of the musical. It was in 5th grade, put on by my music teacher, and the 5th grade class every year did a play, and so I was in that, and it was a musical, and it was terrible because none of us could sing. But from there, I've been in a play every year except for my 8th grade year when I moved schools, and I just love being on stage. I love talking. I don't really have any objections to personal public speaking, it's fun to me. I enjoy it.
So before we go into your high school career or middle school career, we want to know a little bit about what you want to do in life.
Ultimately, I'd love to be an actress, or that's what I used to want to be. But now I really want to be have my own TV show like Ellen DeGeneres, but I guess the straight version, because I think it's so great what she does. I mean, she helps so many people. She's so generous, but yet she's so funny, and she gets to dance on her TV and just, it's interview, kind of do what you're doing right now. And so I'd really like to go to the University of Texas at Austin. That's my #1 school. Hopefully I get in. I'd love to go there. And I'd like to be a communications major. And then instead of doing a political science major and just get your general base that you're going to get in law school, I figured communications would be better, because if I decide ultimately I wanted to be a lawyer, but if I decide that, courtrooms isn't where I want to be with people, then I could go into, newscast, broadcast journalism, being an anchor, foreign correspondent, newspaper journalist, anything like that, because I just know in order for me to be happy in a career, I need to have interaction with people. Wow, so you have a set path for your future. It's really rare for high schoolers to have those, passion and all that. We can see that you're very outgoing and passionate about things, and that's why you're the president of the school. I mean, yeah. I hope so. So let's talk about your 8th grade moment when you moved from Oregon to right? Moved from Oregon. You're saying it right. Virginia. It's not Oregon. Moving from Oregon was really. It wasn't tough because I was like, I'm ready. I want to move. I've been in Oregon. I moved around 7 times, but it was always in Oregon, and I'm ready for new experiences. I'm ready to go to college now. Next chapter, please. But it was difficult because I had literally I had to repeat it twice, going to 2 different schools. We lived in a townhome for the first half of the year, and I kind of made some friends through theater there, which was nice. And then when I came out here, I was like, oh, this is easy. I've already had 1 dress rehearsal, put on my favorite outfit, literally went up to people, hi, I'm Madison Setness, I'm new. And people were like... So you never had those, loneliness or just anything? Oh yeah, I definitely did. I missed my family, I missed my best friend, anybody's gonna miss that. But I try not to dwell on the negative parts of it, because it's an adventure. I just want to keep going. And I knew I'd make friends, and I have some amazing friends now that I would never have if I didn't move from Oregon. So I'm really thankful for that, but it's important, to just always keep pushing ahead. And from 8th grade, I'm guessing you had that passion to become a school officer, or? Yeah, actually, in my middle school, we had 2 different kind of, I guess you could say we lived a House and a Senate kind of thing, and I was in, I guess, the Senate version my 6th grade year, and then my 7th grade year I was in the House version, I guess. And I just really liked interacting with people. I liked putting on pep rallies. I liked bringing in school spirit. I loved planning spirit weeks. And my freshman year I was like, you know, I've only gone to school with these kids for half a year, but I'm gonna try. And I had freshman year I had 4 or 5 opponents, blew them out of the water. And thanks for my dad and his artistic support on my posters. But yeah, I just was like, you know, if I want to make the best of high school, and I guess it's just the drive I have within myself, and I just did it.
And was the poster, or were the posters that were hung up around the school for this presidency? Yeah.
No, they weren't the same.
Were they by your dad, though?
They were. My dad's made all of my campaign posters.
It was just truly amazing. I was like, because I ran for president too. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, Madison Setness. I'm done. Yeah. It was crazy, and I really admire your passion and your dad's support and everything. So when you moved from Oregon to Virginia, who was the first friend or first close friend that you made
that went to Bull Run?
Or just like any friend that helped you adjust to this new state?
Okay, her name was Margaret. She went to Rachel Carson with me. She was in my theater class, and it was funny, we both wore rolled up jeans, like capris, and polos with our collars flipped to the first day of school. And I was like, okay, I can tell we're gonna be friends. And we ended up like going trick-or-treating, we had sleepovers, so she was like in my homeroom too, so that was just, it was nice to like immediately connect with someone or have some kind of immediate relationship, so you didn't feel so lonely and didn't have to sit at the end of the cafeteria table with all these people that have been going to school with each other since kindergarten. And I mean, that's one thing I really miss because I don't have that here, but then it's a good thing because they don't know like all your awkward like stories and phases. So
you're really outgoing, you're really passionate about stuff, and you can make a lot of friends, and you're just socially, you know, just social. Yeah, just social. So are there any pressures to keep up that status?
If there are pressures, I don't feel them. It's just kind of like, you know, my dad told me when probably my freshman year or early on in my high school career, you know, always be friends with everybody. There's no need to be rude or selective because you never know who's going to be your boss, who's going to need help in life. You know, as long as you're nice to as many people as you can be, that's all you need to be. And you can have those close friends and you can have those acquaintances. I'm not trying to make buddies with everybody, you know. I have my close like 2 or 3 girlfriends, you know, my good guy friends, and those are the people that I can really rely on. But I always try to make like friends within my classes, and I think it's just I'm like really extroverted, I guess, that I have friends in drama, I have friends in basketball, I have friends all over the place. And I literally I wrote my college essay on how I'm a cliche but not a stereotype, and how I just kind of can dip in everywhere, but yet I can be my own person still. And I like that about me.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like your dad had a lot of influence on you. What kind of support did he give you, and what kind of influence did you have on you?
I think I get a lot of influence from my dad because he's really like me. And whenever we're in fights, I always yell at him, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Like if he points out a fault for me, and I'm like, you know, we're a lot like each other. We're both tall. I look like my dad more than my mom. But my parents have this like unique support system with me. My mom is that really like emotional, you know, I can talk to boys about her, I can talk to my friend problems, I can go shopping with her. She's got me on that side. But then my dad, I talk to him a lot about college. He helps me with campaigning. He actually did campaigning back in Oregon, so he kind of has that insight too. So he knows what a professional campaign would be like, and he's gone through a lot of like, you know, underdog stories, I guess, from his life. So he just wants the best for me. So he really tries to help me, and I really respect that and take that in with me. And we're talking a lot about my dad, but my mom is just as supportive. I don't want to throw her under the bus because she has her own unique way, and my dad has his own unique way. And, you know, with them, it's just like I can do anything.
Oh, wow. All right. So now let's get into your high school life. 9th grade. You weren't fresh new, but you were kind of new to Virginia.
I would say I
still.
was pretty new because, you know, I mean, Bullard and Gainesville combined, the school's huge. I really didn't know anybody. I maybe had like 5 friends that I could call friends, you know, so it was a little bit scary.
And did you go to the freshman orientation?
Yes, I did. I was actually a freshman cheerleader.
Oh.
So I had to be there for cheer, which was good. So I kind of automatically made some friends. I didn't really know the girls on cheer all that well, except for maybe like 2. And they were actually on varsity, so I had that separation already. But, you know, I had like the whole mindset like, okay, we're going to do it. Just go in. And yeah, that's how I started freshman year, freshman orientation.
You know, first day of school means first day of lunch.
Oh, yeah.
How was that for you?
It wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It just was crazy because I have contacts now. I'm not blind, but I just can't see very far away. So, like, I have to use glasses in my contacts for reading the board. So, freshman year, I didn't have glasses or I wouldn't wear them. And I couldn't really see my friends' faces in lunch. And, you know, like, as a freshman, you walk into the open cafeteria and it's so big and it's just like
yeah.
And I hate cafeteria lunch, so I bring my own lunch. And I literally was just kind of like walking back and forth, like, who do I know? Who do I know? And you don't know if your friends are going to have your lunch or not because the whole A, B, C, D, E, whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pull Mean Girls. I'm going to go eat lunch at the bathroom. I'm going to eat my lunch at the bathroom, and I'll be okay. Nobody will know. Because the next time I'd have that lunch, I'd know it was who my lunch. I'd figure it all out. But then, like, I kid you not, I feel like so corny saying this, but I prayed to God. I was like, Jesus, don't let me sit by myself. Don't let me be alone. Don't let me be alone. And literally, I've never felt this way in my life, but I had like this overwhelming calm just like wash over me, and it sounds so cheesy, but it was crazy. Like, I never felt just so at ease. And I look over and there's this girl sitting by herself at lunch. She had a Cobra Star t-shirt on, and I was like, all right, I know one song by them. I'm gonna go sit down with her. And I'm like, excuse me, is this seat taken? And she's like, no. And I was like, do you mind if I eat lunch with you? She's like, no, that's fine. And I was like, oh, Cobra Starship, I love them. No idea who the band was except for one song. And I probably BS'd my way through the entire conversation, but I had somebody sit with at lunch. I made a new friend, and hopefully I helped her realize, you know, you're not alone. There's other friends and there's other people you can meet in the world. So that's kind of like my like cheesy God save me, be nice to people story. But I love sharing it because like people are just like, oh, I don't have any friends, I'm just by myself. But it's just like, be nice. Good things happen.
Did you get her name by any chance?
I did, but I honestly, I couldn't tell you who it is, and if she's watching, hey, I'm a senior.
All right, so your freshman year, other than the awkwardness of high school, well, how was your academic life?
It was really just kind of chill, I guess you could say. Oregon, I didn't have any AP classes or anything like that. Obviously, it was middle school, but the rigor of the education here and there is very different. There, I had all A's, all my classes, coasting, and everyone would be like, how'd you get an A on this? It's so hard. Here, it'd be like, my A's would be like a C, just with the way that the teaching is here. So it wasn't a struggle, but it was like, whoa, like if people saw the difference, it's crazy.
What kind of clubs were you involved in when you were a freshman?
Freshman year, I was in drama. I was in SCA as class 2013 treasurer. I was also a basketball player on the freshman team. I was a freshman cheerleader, and I was on track.
Oh, wow. You were just everywhere. What was your favorite activity?
I loved cheer. And not for the short skirts, because they're never long enough on me, and the uniforms don't fit me because I'm like a rectangle and they're squares. I just love being in front of a crowd, you know? Like, I was the loudest. I was the tallest, so I stuck out. But I just loved that. I just loved being in front of the team and yelling at the boys to run faster or throw farther.
And did you have any romance life?
Oh no. I've always, my entire life, I've always been that tall girl, and I feel like I'm just over intimidating. Our boys are like, you're so intimidating. But trust me, I'm really compassionate. I will be nice to you.
And that is when Anthony comes in, right?
Nope, he doesn't come until junior year.
Junior year. Okay. Who did you go to homecoming with?
I went in a group with my friends, and we went to a friend's house. We took pictures. Then we ate at Asian Garden, actually. We thought we were so cool going to Asian Garden alone. And I just kind of went home after the dance like little sorry freshmen would do. So.
How was that? How was
it
that
was
night?
Fun. I've been to all 4 homecomings. Like, maybe it's just my school spirit, but I like to dance, and I'm that quirky white girl that, that's doing the shopping cart, get snorkel on. But, hey, if you can't laugh at yourself,
yeah,
what's the point?
I know.
So.
I totally agree with you on that. Let's jump on to your sophomore year. Sophomore year. This is when you get your pre-AP classes or maybe AP classes. And this is when you really have to kind of see what high school is and get used to it. How was sophomore year for you?
It was good. I had Mr. Miller for my AP World teacher. I actually think that's the first time I've ever fallen asleep in class. I think it was like the second month of school because Mr. Miller's voice reminded me of Kip from Napoleon Dynamite, and I just was like, this is so like making me sleepy. But I was like, I can't fall asleep in class. This is actually a difficult class for me. It's an AP class. Gotta take it seriously. So that was like my first like little kick up. Let's go. What else did I do sophomore year?
So academically, did you have any trouble adjusting to those pre-AP and AP classes, or?
No, I did pretty good. I maintained A's and B's. When I took the exam, it was like a 2, which is so embarrassing, but hey.
It's just...
it's an AP test. It doesn't really matter, I guess, which is terrible to say, but it's not life or death in that situation.
And you were a SCA officer?
Yes, I was class treasurer again. And that year, I really stepped up. It seems like every year, except for my freshman year, my great-grandpa died my freshman year.
Oh.
So I wasn't able to be here during homecoming as much as I wanted to be. I had to go down to Texas for the funeral. So I remember Casey Stein, she just now told me this year, she's like, I hated you because you were never here. I was like, that's because I had a death of the family. She's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. So, no, sophomore year, I feel like I had to kind of like make up for freshman year, and I really put in the effort, and I was taking on jobs that the president would do or the vice president would do, and I just was like taking that leadership, maybe not supposed to be, but that's just kind of how I am.
And were you still in cheerleading team and basketball team and everything else?
Yes,
Track?
Sophomore year I was on JV cheer and JV basketball. And so the winter was always really tough. I had to I had to juggle between cheer practices and basketball practices.
Oh, goodness. Going
from basketball practices to cheer games, and finding people to fill in for me during game times, or I'd have to go play basketball. So it was kind of tough, but my coaches supported me, and they're like, hey, if this is what you want to do, we'll support you. And that's how I like to be. I like to be on the go. So it was fun.
How did you manage all that as well as your classes? What's your secret?
Procrastination. Probably, procrastination is bad, but if I didn't do my homework like right after school, I would end up doing it that night, and if I didn't get done that night, I would switch it over the next day with block scheduling. And I always have a rule with myself is go to bed at 9:30, 10 max. I need my sleep, otherwise I'm grumpy. So I really just it's like literally hour by hour go through. If this doesn't get done, okay, it's gonna push in the next hour. I just gotta do that faster. And sometimes I'm just sitting there like on my phone or would-be phone on Facebook back at sophomore year, and I realize I'd get distracted, and it's just something inside of me that keeps me motivated. And I know if I didn't continue my good grades in classes, then my sports would go, then my clubs would go, then my hanging out with friends would go, and if I wanted to maintain everything, I had to keep it all afloat.
Oh wow, so you're just self-motivated.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really get grounded, so it's not like grounding is ever a threat. It's just kind of like it needs to get done, so I need to get it done.
Oh wow, just natural born leader. I'm talking to Madison Setness here today. So sophomore year was just okay year for you.
Yeah.
Just breeze as well, like freshman year. So now we will jump onto your junior year, where you kind of really have to step up, and all your AP classes just come in, and this is where Anthony comes in as well, as well as some other stuff, maybe other things. And I'm guessing you quit some of your activities this year. Not this year,
junior year. The only thing that I didn't do was track, because I had gone to districts twice. I went to regionals. I had gotten my letter. I did shot put and discus because Mrs. Michaels back freshman year was like, hey, you're tall, it's easy to throw, do it. And I was like, okay, like if it's an easy way to get a letter. It wasn't as easy as I thought it'd be, but I enjoyed it with the people that I had out there, and it was just kind of like our own little club, kind of just fiddle farting around, but at the same time putting in work.
So, how did AP classes treat you?
Oh goodness, I don't even remember what classes I took last year. I think I had like an AP English. That's probably, I don't even remember what I took. Oh, AP English and AP US History, I think. Yeah, I didn't take that many classes. I'm not very good at math. I don't really like math. We don't get along. It was a lot more difficult with a research paper, you know. You really have to put in your effort. Homework was graded more. AP push was a load. I had Miss Maori, had her second period, wanted to fall asleep every class because she'd turn the lights off, lecture like a real professor, and the only reason I stayed awake was because James Madison. So whenever she said Madison, she was referring to James Madison, but I thought she was talking to me. So I'd be like, and she'd be like, Madison, I'd be like, Madison. So it was a lot more difficult, a little bit more difficult to juggle my sports and everything else, and probably lost a little more sleep. But like I said, it's what I want to do, so I just kept chugging through.
It looks like you have so much energy to just go through this busy days. And where do you get those energy?
I have so many things that I have to get done that it's like in my mind, I'm like, I always think of it like a track. It's like after this lap, I'll be done. After this, it's like another thing checked off my list, another thing checked off my list, closer and closer to being done. And maybe that's what motivates me, just like checking things off, but that's just how it happens.
And what was your worst class during your junior year?
I'd probably say A push. I really loved Miss Maori though, which is so weird because I didn't like the class, but I liked her. She just pushed us, and it was a lot of work, and I didn't really like that portion of history, I guess. I didn't have civics or like any really U.S. history, any constitution, how a bill becomes all that. Like I never really had that because Oregon and Virginia, their middle school plans were off, and I got half a year, missed it. So I didn't have as strong as a base as I think other kids did, or as much as an interest, so it just was difficult. And the AMSCO book, I want to burn that thing, but I'm saving it for my brothers. So.
And how old are your brothers?
Garrison is a sophomore. I think he's 15.
So he's still, he's in this high school?
He's in this high school. It's his second year. And then my youngest brother, Mason, goes to Reagan, and he's in 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, when did Anthony come in?
He came in late January, early February of my sophomore year.
And how old is he?
He's a year older than us. He graduated last year.
So you guys are still in a relationship right now?
No, we're not.
And
so where the awkwardness comes in.
how did you meet him?
He was in DECA too, and he's just like that really like obnoxious loud kid that everybody like hated but loved at the same time, I guess. So he had his chemistry class across from my fashion marketing class, and he was friends with my friend Lauren, and it just kind of was like, kind of noticed him. I mean, he was tall. I didn't really notice him before, and he just kind of was like, just caught my attention, and we weren't friends or anything, and that's just, I mean, that's how I noticed him. And then one day, I mean, I told my friend Lauren, I was like, oh, I don't know, there's something about him that I like, and I think it was his personality that he just was kind of like crazy outgoing, you know, just kind of like whatever. And so one day, I told my friend Lauren, I was like, I like him. I'm gonna start talking to him. And I guess I texted him, and then it just kind of went from there. Or I don't even know, but. And
when we talk about relationships, a lot of, well, I know this because I'm an Asian, and a lot of Asians, and I don't know about Black community or Hispanic community, but a lot of Asian guys are into white girls, and they think white girls are kind of like upper rank than them.
Okay.
And they're afraid to just step up and ask them if they want to, I don't know, maybe have a coffee or something. Okay. What is your opinion on Asian guys? And you gotta be truthful.
I'll be exactly, trust me, I'll be truthful with you. That's how I am. I'm very honest. It's not that I haven't noticed Asian guys, but I kind of have this height prejudice. Anybody across the board, regardless of race, or even age. Back to that Facebook status. I'm tall, like I said, I'm 5'11", and in my mind, I want a guy that's like 6'2" or above. If you know a girl, you Asian guys or black guys or whatever guys, you know, the worst thing somebody can tell you is no. And I've learned that in my life, and you know, don't be afraid of no.
We talked about your junior year, your love life, and were there any hardships that you had to overcome during your junior year?
The end of my junior year, early senior year, I was on varsity cheer. I competed. I went to districts. I helped them get our three-peat, back-to-back district title. We went to regionals and all that, and I tried out for cheer again. Unfortunately, I was one of the only girl not to make cheer out of the 50 girls who tried out, which was really difficult because I have a love for the school spirit aspect of it versus let me put on a short skirt, let me go tumble. And the reason I didn't make the team was because of tumbling. I didn't have a back handspring. I'm kind of tall and lengthy and awkward, so I just don't bend that way. So I didn't make it, and that was really difficult for me because everybody was like, you're going to make it, don't worry. You know, they'll put you on the team, they need you. I was a very strong back spot. And that was really difficult for me, not making the team, which was something I had worked up I've been on every other team prior, and so not cheering my senior year was just really difficult to understand and grasp my head around, you know. And, you know, they always say it's good to quit while you're ahead, and even though I didn't intentionally quit, it was best that I didn't cheer this year because of my AP classes. I'm taking 4 AP classes this year, which probably is as many as the English is in, but it's a lot for me, and SCA presidents put a lot more pressure on me, which I think I've taken advantage of because I don't have cheer or basketball. But junior year was really kind of, you know, just being okay with myself and having to accept things that you can't control in life.
So it is true that if there's a shadow, there's a light. If there's a bad side of it, there's a good side. And from this hardship, you gained some positive stuff.
And, you know, people never really want to acknowledge, like, or want to accept what's happened when it happens. But sometimes you just need, like, time to move on and, you know, progress. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I really understand why this happened. Or God made this way for me. Or, you know, things happen for a reason. There's always a reason.
And when did, before we jump onto that topic, I want to ask you a final question. After you didn't make the team, did you cry?
Yes. So I actually found out at work. I was at Splashdown Water Park. I was a lifeguard there, as well as a lifeguard in Dominion Valley, but I was there that day, and I was so mad. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm so mad. And I was just like, wow, this really sucks. Good thing I have sunglasses on. And I cried, you know, that's like having something that you really love and love for reasons that people don't love on the team, you know, it's unique to you. And I cried, and other people, you know, of course people want to gossip and talk, and that just reopened the wound every time it happened. But I cried, but then I got stronger from it, and I realized, you know, high school is just high school. Yeah,
sometimes really tears really make you stronger. I feel like, definitely. So when did that tree falling event that you mentioned earlier happen?
Let's see, it happened, wow, I guess this past summer. Are we seniors now? Yeah, we are. It happened this past July, August. We had that really bad, like, windstorm come through.
I remember that.
And I actually was out to dinner with my aunts, and my friend Ashley was taking care of our house, and we had 2 dogs. So she was over there, wanted to make sure that no tree or anything had fallen on him, and she called my mom, and she was like, Mrs. Setness, a tree fell on Madison's car. And my mom was just like, oh, great, like, we have to file insurance. Like, no, it's like, what can you do? Like, a tree fell on your car, like, you can't take it back. So it was just more like the hassle of insurance and having to get it repaired and I having to drive to work and all this stuff. So we're like, okay, you know, that's fine, thank you. Like, my parents totally appreciated Ashley. Her dad went up in our attic because the tree swiped the front of our house too. So that was crazy. But we got back, had the insurance claims and all that, and they decided to total it because I guess there's too many dings within the frame, and the hood of the car, like, bent in.
What car was it?
It was a Mercury Mariner. It's kind of like the step up from a Ford Escape, but 4-door, 5-seat kind of thing, you know. So kind kind of sucked. I mean, I liked that car. It was the first car I ever got to drive and call my own. But ever since I was younger, I had a dream of owning a black BMW with gray interior, sunroof, and...
Is this a brand new BMW?
No, this is not brand new to me. Not brand new. It's a... I think... Oh, goodness. 2002, 325i, black.
So, did that happening, the tree falling onto your house, did that impact you, just in any aspect of your life?
Other than getting a new car and, you know, like, at first I was like, oh, my car, I love my car. But then I was kind of like, hey, I could get a new car out of this. And then it was like, you know, at least I have a car to drive. And we thought about, like, saving the money for college or whatnot. But it was like, with me and having 2 younger brothers, it's like I need that car. So we got a good deal on it and good mileage. So it was just like, hey, why not? And some people are like, well, why didn't you buy a Prius or blah, 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 blah. And my family's philosophy is like, if you're going to buy something, buy it to enjoy and buy it of good quality. So that's kind of how everything happened.
So, like, again, your life really shows that if there's darkness, there's light. Every side of it. Now let's jump on to your senior year, which is right now. So summer, senior summer, is it senior summer or junior end of summer? I don't know.
We just call it senior
summer. How was that?
Let's see. I just, like, honestly, the days blur. Like, I don't even remember. I'm surprised at how much I recall. I think I went back to Oregon. I think that was this year. Yeah, this year. Yeah, I got to visit my friend and my family, which was good. I have a 97-year-old great-grandma who lives in Oregon, so it was good to see her. She has 2 titanium hips. She's blind, or slowly becoming blind. So, you know, it's always nice to be able to go back there. And even if she doesn't really, you know, if you can't tell she knows you there, it's nice to be there because, you know, family is important.
And once we started school, was it harder than your junior year, or was your junior year harder than your senior year?
I think senior year was harder.
Yeah.
Because all my AP classes are on the same day. Black days, I go from AP Government to AP Environmental to AP Stats to AP English.
Oh, wow.
Which is good because I have the block scheduling, so I can kind of, you know, like, okay, I'm going to do half my homework tonight, half of it tomorrow. But I hate it at the same time because it's literally like I can't fall asleep. Like, I have to stay mentally focused the entire time and really dedicate myself. Otherwise, if I slack off just the slightest, you know, you could fall just way back, so...
And I forgot to mention this, but this year you're the president.
Yes.
And the vice president is...
Kristen Lolly.
And does she help you? I'm sorry, because... okay, so I'm just totally lost here. Your senior year, we talked about your president.
SCA.
And college...
Talked about Kristen.
That's right. And college applications.
Application.
How many did you apply to? How many colleges?
Originally, I had 4. I applied to, oh my goodness, University of Texas at Austin.
Your dream school?
Yeah. I hate talking about it because I want to, like, I tell myself I'm not going to get in. So when I get in, it's like, but you never know. You never know with life.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any, like, anything, but that's like if I could choose and I had a free will, I'd go there. But Texas, Christopher Newport, I was kind of like a backupper school. Washington and Lee, I really liked it there. Fingers crossed on the Johnson Scholarship. So, as well as Elon University down in North Carolina. But then my parents are like, hey, you live in Virginia, it's such a great place, education is awesome, you need to apply to more in-state schools in case, you know, just more options. So I applied to Virginia Tech, UVA, and JMU.
And are you confident about those schools? Do you think you can get in?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've had cocky moments in my life and this interview.
Yeah.
But I don't like to think that anything is given to me, especially after cheer, you know, I honestly did think I'd make the team because there had been so many exceptions before, but it's like they decided to drop the hammer on me. I mean, I have strong academics, but it's not like I have like a 4.05 or anything like that. But yet I have so many leadership positions, and I've been kind of all around that I'm hoping that the right school for me will recognize that and see the balance of both. and I've applied for different leadership programs within different schools, so I'm hoping that those leadership programs will pick up on that, and, you know, I will be put in the right direction, and even if it's not my dream school, I'll eventually go to the right school for me.
I think schools will definitely recognize your
Fingers
talents
crossed,
and
fingers
abilities. So senior year, it's not done yet,
Nope.
so we don't want to, you know, conclude how.
it.
Yeah. How did senior year treat you so far?
So far, let's talk like prior to Christmas break. We can talk about that because that's what it is. It's good. It goes by so fast.
I know.
Like, I'm literally just like shocked that it's like that. Senior year was awesome. Oh my goodness, the pep rally. Probably favorite moment of my entire senior career right now. Freshman year, I saw Carly Glenn. She was our president then. I saw her and I was just like, that's what I want to do. I want to be out there on the court. I want to be talking. Saw Katie Agnes. I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. And so announcing and running the entire thing on my own was just so surreal, and I like almost started crying. I was like, Alyssa Nessel was with me, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. We were like freaking out. We were running in the hall, screaming like in our togas. It was crazy, but honestly, that's been like the highlight of my year so far. And the next thing that would top that would be getting into Texas and then speaking at graduation, which I'm so excited for.
And yeah, those are just amazing things that only the president of the school can do, and I think you did a really good job, because you know how we were competing for that spot
during that like little thing. I was like, I cannot let these boys beat me. This is not 3 years of working up has done. I was like, I'm going to be Brooke. I'm going to be Jaehoon. I didn't really even know you back then. I was like, this random person's not going to take over my spot. Just because he's Asian doesn't mean he gets to run it. And I was like, no, it's not happening. And I would say chocolate bars. Anybody running for president, hand out chocolate bars.
And I think you're doing a really good job, and I could not have done what you have done so far.
Well, you've done amazing stuff in other ways. I mean, look at this. This is just crazy. I would never think to do this.
Well, it's just my passion. I think people just go towards their passion, and I think you are doing a really, really fantastic job. Before we go, this is the essential podcast question time.
Yeah.
What does being tall mean to you?
Being tall means seeing above everybody in the hallway. Being tall means that you can almost pull off anything fashionably wise, you know. Some body figures are better with other things, but my mom always says that I can go between trends and whatnot, which is really fun for me. Being tall is really kind of like sticking out, so you have to be strong and confident with it. You can't slouch or hide away. You are out in the open, so being tall is just putting yourself out there. Being tall is having fun. Being tall is embracing yourself. And being tall is wearing heels. That's another thing. Wear heels. Embrace it. So
you'd rather be taller than...
Yeah, I used to have a dream that I wanted to be like 6'2", which is ultimately crazy. I'm really happy with my height because I reached the Tall Club International, I think is what TCI stands for.
There's a
club, yes, for all you tall folks and fellows out there. If you're 5'11" and a female, you can join the club when you're 21. If you're 6 foot and above for a man, you can join the club as well when you're 21. I learned that because obviously I'm tall, and I was like, I'm gonna be tall enough to be in that club one day, and my mom's like, you're ridiculous, but hey, I've met it, and hopefully, you know, I can join it one day.
And I will look forward to that. All right, so we were here with Madison Setness today, and we had I had an amazing time.
I had fun. This was great. Let's do this more often.
Yeah, and we will definitely visit you before the senior year ends and see where you go with
Maybe I'll
your
give
life.
You a little taste of my speech.
Yeah,
I have it written by then.
That's right. We'll visit her back about a couple of months later, and then we'll visit you back 20 years later and talk about life once again. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. You have to do the PhD thing. All right. Thank you, Madison. Wow.
That was fun. Seriously, you're good at this.